Welcome to the performance cars that we wouldn't buy. We don't recommend you should buy them because they're riddled with issues and problems, even though they might be okay here and there.
Yeah. I just had a thought when we're going through our list. Some people might have already bought these cars. We might upset them.
There's a chance we're going to upset people. I tell you what, there's a guaranteed chance we're going to upset some car companies right now.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Exactly. Now, I should define what we're talking about here. As I just said, these are the cars that we personally wouldn't buy, but we definitely would not recommend you go and buy them.
Yeah, some of them are terribly flawed.
Yes.
Some of our picks are kind of subjective, but some of these have just problems.
Yeah, and also some of them it's because of financial reasons, but we'll get into that with the cars. Now, also, as we explained in the opposite of this video, the cars that we would recommend buying, the cars that we love, performance doesn't necessarily mean fast. There are plenty of incredibly fast cars out there that are just not that engaging to drive, yet there are a whole bunch of cars out there that aren't very fast that are just hilarious.
Yeah, bring a smile to your face.
Exactly.
Unlike a lot of these cars, which will make you cry.
Both financially and when you're sitting at the side of the road with it broken down. Also, I should mention we're going to be breaking this into different popular performance car categories with some nominees and winners from both of us. Shall we get into this? Let's kick off with the really small cars. We're talking city car size here, like Kia Picanto sort of size. That's not a nominee. No. In fact, we don't have any nominees for this. There is a very clear winner.
There was one standout, really.
There was one standout. I should say one major loser.
Yeah.
This actually hurts me because I personally, on a subjective level, I love these cars, but you shouldn't buy one.
No. It's the early version of the Abarth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 595.
595, yeah.
Post 2020, that's a different story. Go watch the other video for that. Yeah. Pre 2020 and really early ones, there's a lot of issues going on there.
Yeah. They break. Yeah.
Also, cost of parts, but actually more availability of parts. This might be different if you're watching this in Europe or the US, but here in Australia, we know of owners that have been waiting weeks, sometimes even months for spare parts. Also depreciation. There's a bunch of reasons these early ones there's other cars you should buy in this category instead. Go watch the other video. Next up, small cars. We're talking like Yaris, Mazda 2 kind of size.
That size,
Mate, our nominees, what do you got?
I've got on my list Renault Clio RS.
Yeah, this is the dual clutch one with the 1.6 litre, the 5-door one, not the 2 litre naturally aspirated. That's a whole other story.
Not a great car.
Yeah, but there are many reasons why, but we've got to get on with this. Next nominee.
What have you got?
Let's go Volkswagen Polo GTI with the 1.4 litre twin charge.
Lordy me. I'm going to go out there and say it's probably the most unreliable Volkswagen engine
has to be
ever made.
Has to be.
Possibly.
What a nightmare of an engine. There's a
Wasn't
reason
around for that long.
There's a reason that they binned that engine and put something else in there.
Yeah.
Okay, my winner, and a lot of French car fans are going to hate me on this, but this is from experience because I owned one of these and it was a piece of shit.
And I fixed it a bunch of times.
You did fix it. It's the Peugeot 206 GTI, specifically the 180. The only reason I bought this was because I wanted a Clio RS and there were none available at the time, and I thought, oh, well, this is still French, it's still small, still a little hot hatch, it'll be pretty much the same. It wasn't.
No.
This is a terrible car.
Yeah, very prone to failure.
Not only that, the seating position's all wrong, the switchgear feels terrible, ergonomics are shocking, not that quick, lift off oversteer is quite brutal, it's not a smooth transition, it just goes, oh, I'm sideways now. Just a terrible car. Yeah. Terrible.
You're scarred from that, aren't you?
Oh, God. I owned it for too long. Crap car.
My winner or loser, I don't know how we're phrasing this.
Loser?
It's the winner of the losers, is the R51 Mini, the Cooper S. What a terrible car. And the reason being, I have seen firsthand so many of these engines fail. Just the bottom ends just fall apart. They're horrible to drive. They're rattly. I had the misfortune recently of driving a John Cooper Works convertible.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever heard the term scuttle shake? You know, a front wheel drive. Oh my God, it was the worst thing. You'd accelerate, hit a bump, and the whole thing would just start this harmonic rattle everywhere. Horrible car.
Yeah, terrible. If you're a regular viewer of ReDriven, you will have seen various R51 Cooper S's in the background because they just fail. Expensive to repair. Parts are even getting a little bit challenging to get, hard to work on. And again, there are just so many other better cars in this category you should buy instead, which we list on the other video. Okay, next up, medium performance cars. We're talking sort of Corolla size, Mazda 3 sort of size. There are a whole bunch of nominees here. I'm just going to plow through them so we can get to our winners. BMW M1000 35i, the N series engines. Great, okay, potentially great car.
Yeah.
I've got 3 mates that have owned these, and they've all just had endless problems, and they're renowned for it. If you're the sort of person that wants to work on your car all the time,
yeah, turbo complications, oil leaks, there's plenty to go wrong.
Yep. Alfa Romeo Giulietta, it hurts because I love this car.
Yeah. What a pretty little thing, but
also
not worth the risk.
Wonderful to drive.
Yeah.
I think in this category there are better things out there.
Yeah.
Oh, this next one hurts me too.
Yeah.
Honda Civic Type R FK8. Okay, this is more of a subjective reason. It just looks ridiculous. Unless you're driving in Tokyo, I just don't think it works in most places in Australia.
Very busy.
But aside from the subjective stuff, it just doesn't feel as premium as I think the price indicates.
Engine and transmission is pretty good.
One of the all-time...
Bit of an understatement, actually.
It's contradicting ourselves here.
Yeah.
It's one of the all-time great front-wheel drive cars. It's honestly, it's up there in some of the best cars I've ever driven of any category.
Yeah.
But I just... Go watch the other video to see what we'd buy instead for the same sort of money.
So in this category, what's your winner-loser?
I've got one more. I'm so
sorry.
One more nominee because it's another one that I've owned. Renault Megane RS225. Remember the Renault had that?
I remember that.
Awesome looking thing.
I've tried to block it out, but I remember it.
Awesome to drive. Horrible to own. Horrible. So many issues. And not just me. It's just commonly regarded.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My winner is the A45.
AMG A45.
AMG A45. Where do I start?
Yeah.
We did a video on it. Go and check out the video. It has got some credibility. Very powerful 2-litre. In fact, it was the most powerful 2-litre you could buy at one point. Probably still is. I don't know.
Bloody fast.
But the engines are a little bit piss weak. They have turbo issues. The driveline is terrible. The diff brakes, and they are just a bit of an all-round dud.
For me, it's just not aging well. Like every time, I've driven a couple since we made that video, and they're just, interiors are not lasting.
Yeah.
The plastics aren't lasting. It feels like everything behind the scenes within the interior, like every bit of plastic that holds some nice feeling trim on is about to fail. It all rattles.
And definitely another car that's been completely ruined by association as well.
Yeah. So the big issue with these, and the reason you shouldn't buy one, is that so many were purchased on lease arrangements through, salary sacrifice sort of stuff by people that have no intention of ever keeping the car for the long term. So they miss servicing, they miss maintenance, they drive the pants off them without any mechanical sympathy. You don't want to end up being the person that owns that car.
No.
Just too many people have ruined them. Which brings me to my winner/loser of this. Another one that hurts me. Sorry guys, it's the Mazda 3 MPS, or Mazda Speed 3 for those watching in North America. Now, before you yell at me, this isn't the car's fault. The car itself, if you can find one of the unicorns out there that have a meticulous maintenance history that's been owned by an 85-year-old retired man or woman, that's okay.
Unmodified.
The problem here is so many on the used market have just been absolutely ruined. I would say the majority, to the point that I've nearly bought one of these a few times, and every time I bring it to Jim to get a pre-purchase inspection done, you can tell it's been modified, then reversed to look stock.
Yeah.
They're just not worth the risk. I'm sorry. Great car, but don't buy one. We wouldn't buy one.
No.
Too risky. There are other things you can buy in this category. Okay, large cars. We're talking Camry, Mazda 6, Commodore sort of sizing.
Yep.
Nominees.
Porsche Panamera, actually.
Yep.
For a bunch of reasons. One of them primarily is it's effing hideous.
It is one of those cars, it seems attractive on the used market because they are getting to be really affordable, and it looks like a lot of car for the money.
Yeah.
But wow, there are some issues there.
I've never been in a high mileage one that's not just falling apart.
Yep.
Literally, pieces falling off it. And the cost of servicing them through Porsche, you just take the car, take $10,000.
It's ridiculous.
Every time you go there, it'll be thousands and thousands of dollars. And did I mention how ugly they are?
Yeah, you did. Yep. Another one is any BMW M5 made after about 2005.
Yeah.
The V10, no, don't do that to yourself. And then all of the other ones.
V10s can sound cool.
Oh, they're 100% for the 15 minutes that they work properly. Yeah. And then anything sort of, post the V10, just so much complexity going on.
Yeah.
Again, if they're not absolutely meticulously maintained, it's going to cost you a fortune. Depreciation is a massive thing to take into account. I think that any of the newer M5s are just too fast for Australian conditions. The one you should buy, we mentioned in the other video, but spoiler alert, it has a naturally aspirated V8 and a manual transmission, and it's wonderful. And our winner here, we totally both agree on this.
Oh my goodness.
AMG C63S.
What a donkey.
Let's start with the positives. It does have some redeeming qualities.
Sounds good.
Sounds amazing.
Yep.
Very quick. Can be great to drive, as long as you don't drive it on a hot day.
Sounds good. Yep.
Looks good, especially in wagon form. The wagons are hot.
Yeah.
They
sound so good.
Fast wagon is the coolest car in the world.
Yeah.
But this is a great example of a premium badge not equating to a premium product.
Go and watch our video on this car and watch my bit, probably the best bit of the video actually. Watch my bit and it'll explain why they're so utterly shit. Everything goes wrong, they're expensive to fix. Just not worth the trouble.
But even my bits, like exterior problems and really stupid things, like bits of trim discolouring or bits of carbon fibre just falling off, interior trim falling off, infotainment systems failing, electronic issues.
But it's a very expensive premium brand, Adam.
No.
What went wrong?
Don't know. I think, and this is going to really upset some people, the biggest issue with the C63S, no, that is the biggest issue, as is the deprieciation and the cost of parts.
Yeah.
But one of the big issues, they're just ruined by association.
Yeah.
So many dickheads have bought these and they drive like wankers. It's ruined the car.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say car people don't buy C63s.
Not anymore. I think they used to.
Maybe?
Yeah. I think
I don't think they do.
I think the old naturally aspirated, what's that, W204? I think we're getting, there's one of those coming on the channel soon. I think that can be cool, but these C63S, no. Next up,
wagons.
My favourite category of all. No, actually, no, it's not just my favourite category of all. It's all of our favourite categories because as car people, we all universally agree that the coolest car in the world is a fast wagon.
Bring back the wagons, please.
Okay. I feel bad. Can I go first on the nominees here?
Go.
I'm sorry.
You're going to have to do some explaining here.
Yeah, okay.
Because personally, I don't think it's a bad car.
No, it's not a bad car. I'll go as far as saying this might be the best car in the world. For most people.
But
we aren't most people, are we, guys? We're car people. We're performance car people, yeah? So we want more from a car than just amazing straight line speed, and in this case, fantastic practicality. The Volkswagen Golf R wagon is a sensational car.
Yeah.
As I said, all the car most people will ever need. Yeah. But my issue is when you're not up the thing for the rent, it just feels like driving every other Golf.
Yeah,
around town, it feels like a Golf, which you would think is a really good thing because a Golf is a nice car to drive.
And you're always tempted, every time I drive one of those, you're always tempted just to give it a squirt. Yeah. Because that's when the fun starts. They sound good, they feel good. You're just tempted all the time.
Yeah. It's coaxing you to have fun and lose your license.
Yeah.
There's another car that's a wagon from this family that I think you should buy instead, which is on the other video. We keep doing that. I'm so sorry.
I'll go next. I'm going to call out here the Chrysler 300C SRT 8 wagon.
Yep.
I personally don't believe that should exist.
At all.
At all. Really, it's like, come on. I don't know what to say about it. Look, they're fast in a straight line. I get it. I don't think they were ever meant to be a performance car. They're not an attractive wagon.
No.
They barely make it into a cool wagon category because the back end of that looks weird, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's like, I think that's a great example of they've designed a sedan and then someone...
we need a wagon.
Someone in product planning went, hey, we need a wagon. And someone went, okay, done.
Yeah. It's not a good look at all.
No.
And everyone I've seen is literally falling apart.
Yep.
Yeah, the interior pieces and underpinnings.
Shockingly bad.
You look under one of those and the design of that car, it looks like something that was designed in, I'm going to say, in the 90s.
Well, it was, because I think the platform for that has been around, I think Wyatt Earp was one of the lead engineers on that car.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Another one that, you guys are going to kill me in the comments for this one. Another nominee.
But weirdly, I know what you're about to say, and I've said a bunch of times I'd have one of these in a heartbeat, but...
Yeah, this is... Okay, Audi RS6. I know.
What a great car.
Calm down, right? I love this car.
Yeah.
But it's too fast. If you live in Germany, absolutely, this is fantastic. But in Australia, And then like the one we featured, tuned, because it needed more power. It's outrageously great, but it is just for Australia. I couldn't buy one. How anyone retains a driver's license and owns an RS6 is absolutely beyond.
I've never seen an RS6 at a track day.
No, this is the problem. So if you really want to give it the beans, it's so heavy you're going to go through all the consumables like crazy. But then on the road, it's just too fast.
Yeah.
I love it. Great car, but I just don't think you should buy it. But the winner, it's kind of carrying on from one of our previous contenders here. It's the AMG CL8 45 shooting brake. Yeah. Just all of the A45 issues in a
different shape.
Yeah, in a pretty ugly wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, go watch the A45 video.
Not much really more to add there.
No. And it just doesn't look right.
No.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Okay, here we go. The most populated category of all. It's the category that Jim I'm
reluctantly participating in this because I don't even think it should exist. But I'm glad to call out a lot of the cars on this list because they're all utter shit.
We're talking performance SUVs. Okay. Nominees. I'm actually going to go from there.
I should say that it's something I'm triggered by the category performance SUV.
Yes.
And I've mentioned this before. Performance cars are great, SUVs are great, but why?
Yep.
Why, except for like, a money flex or for whatever reason, I don't know why people buy them. Mm-hmm. Tell me in the comments why you buy one of these rather than an SUV or a performance car.
Yeah, I think the issue here, and this is something I brought up with the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT video, I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. My personal way of looking at it is that you're compromising those things. Yep. You don't have a performance car because it's an SUV, so it's inherently flawed. Mm. And then by making an SUV try to behave like a performance car, you're also then completely ruining the SUV function. So chances are you probably can't take it that off-road.
Really?
It's also the ride quality is going to have to be...
any of these cars off-road.
No, the ride quality is going to have to be pretty firm because you've got to stop the thing from pitching and rolling all over the place, so therefore it's got to have pretty firm suspension. I think they're a compromise. I get that people sort of go, well, but you get your cake and eat it too.
With the exception maybe of one of the cars on the list, one of the nominees here is the AMG C63. Good old G-Wagon.
Oh, sorry, G63. Yeah, G63.
Yeah, incredibly capable off-road. Go and check out Whistling Diesel's video of him off-road. Yeah. So maybe out of all these, that's the one with off-road chops.
The reason it made the list, the mighty G-Wagon, is purely for a subjective reason that they've been ruined by association. Yeah. They used to be cool until cashed up soccer mums and men going through midlife crises went and bought them. And also, the G-Wagon that you should buy is the diesel one that the
proper army issue.
That is 1,000 times cooler than the AMG ones.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let's just go through the nominees.
Yeah, okay.
Besides G63.
All right, yeah, okay.
Any Jag or Range Rover SVR.
Yep.
Because Jag and Range Rover reliability.
Yep,
we don't have time in this video to get into that.
We've done videos, go and watch them.
Yep, and that includes obviously Range Rover Sport.
Yep.
Volkswagen Touareg R50. That was a video. That was a car too.
Oh my God. No, that had fairly high Ks on it. Is that the one I'm thinking
of? Yeah, it had heaps of Ks on it, but it had heaps of issues between 0 Ks and all of those Ks. GLC 63. This nearly took this category out. I lived with one of these as a press car. I just, whatever.
Yeah, no.
Just...
My brother had one of these for a few years, and he used to joke that every time it went in for something, it was a $5,000 bill.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what, it's $5,000.
And even when it's working, it's just underwhelming. No. What am I? Anyone that owns one, can you please tell me what I'm missing out on here? Because I don't get it. It's a V8.
Where are they all? I remember I used to see them on the roads all the time, and now I hardly ever see them.
I see them. I'm in Sydney. You're in Newcastle.
Maybe that's why.
I see them a fair bit.
Well, this is like an hour and a half drive. They're not going to make an hour and a half without breaking down, are they?
Especially if it's hot.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. The winners.
I should point out, my winners, I've literally written all of them because I couldn't pick a winner, but Adam has a winner, and with good reason too. Go.
Any BMW X5M, but specifically any X6M. What a dog ugly, horrible. I hate that car.
You know why I said earlier...
I hate it so much I knocked my water bottle over.
You know why I said earlier, why does this category exist? You know they're saying, if you're in a village of idiots, you would be the village idiot. This car is the village idiot of this category.
X6M.
Does that make sense?
So you've gone, all right, so I want an SUV that doesn't really SUV anymore, and I want a performance car that isn't really a great performance car. But now I'm going to make it look dog ugly, and I'm going to give it a boot that makes it even less practical.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You know they make an X4. Is it X4 as well?
I don't know.
They do. And they're all hideous. They're all like the same profile. Like, well, why though?
It's coupe.
Stupid.
It's coupe rear end.
No.
And again,
somebody loves it. Explain in the comments if you have one and you love it. Why?
Yeah.
Go on.
You can't, can you?
Exactly.
Yeah, X6M.
Yeah, what a
shit car.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm going to go as far as saying if you own an X6M, we cannot be friends.
Absolutely.
It's time for another Wipertech challenge. Will it wipe today's victim? Sunscreen. Before we see how these wipe, remember Wipertech wiper blades are so easy to order online. They're a breeze to fit. And if you order a set via the link, you're going to get 15% off and free express shipping. Let's see if they wipe. Okay, because it's so important to slip, slop, wipe sunscreen. Go for it. Yeah, okay. It's not too bad. Oh, bloody hell. Why am I always surprised when it hits me? So if these things can handle that, surely they're going to handle anything that you can throw at them. Get yourself a set today. Oh, here, another rant. Oh, rant city.
The next category is convertibles.
Can I say this?
Please.
And we totally agree on this.
Yeah.
Okay. The winner is, not even nominees because, okay. The winner is anything that was not intended primarily to be a convertible in the first place. So
anything. Any of them.
Any of them. So I'm talking about BMW 3 Series, Porsche 911, Mercedes-Benz C-Class, Mustang, any convertible that, look at Lotus Lease or Mazda MX-5, right? MX-5, take that for example.
Yeah.
That from day one was supposed to be a convertible.
Yep.
And then later on with the NC, they put a little hardtop on it, and now the RF with the ND. It's a great car.
Yeah.
Anything where it's like the marketing department went, oh, hey, we need a convertible version of this, and the engineers go,
yeah,
it's going to ruin everything about this car.
Yeah, they're all bad.
They're all bad, especially a 911. 911 Cabriolet, they've never made a good-looking one. The thing's already pretty chunky in the rear anyway. When you cut the roof off, it just accentuates all that hump in the back.
There's maybe a slight caveat here. Maybe it's some of them when the top is down, they look okay. But yeah, I'm trying to look for a positive, but all of them by design are just weird looking. But when the top is down, maybe you get it in the right climate.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're doing that, why do you need a performance car?
Yep. Adding some objectivity into this argument, you'll generally find that the convertible versions of any of these cars will depreciate faster than any of their coupe siblings.
Yeah. Also,
because you're inherently taking chassis, I suppose, stiffness away, especially in some of the earlier ones, then you've got all sorts of issues. There are endless reports of some of these roofs failing because they're so complex, because they were never designed to be a convertible in the first place.
I've got a late entry in the convertible is the Mini, R51 Mini, that I spoke about earlier.
Why?
Yeah.
Why the hell would anyone buy that when you can get an MX-5?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Stupid.
Yep. That's the winner. All convertibles.
We need to shake it off. Let's move on.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry for the
Okay,
rant.
sports cars under 100 grand.
Okay, there's a few here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with another rant. Can someone... if you own a Corvette that costs less than $100,000 in Australia...
Make sure, listen carefully, less than 100,000 Ks.
If you own a Corvette that costs less than $100,000 in Australia, can you explain to me what I'm missing? Because I've driven a few, and all of them I've been left completely bewildered of why anyone would buy these sopping wet sponges of cars that sound good, and that's where it ends. Same goes for the Chev Camaro.
Yeah.
I remember driving that going, God, this is underwhelming.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
I don't know. American muscle, tradition. I think people just are drawn to them because of, the nameplate.
All right. And also with the Corvettes, it can be challenging to get parts for.
Especially in Australia,
build quality, rattles,
okay, the next nominee here is the Merc CLK.
Specifically CLK 280 and CLK 350.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter which generation.
I would never have even considered that as a sports car, really.
No, well, the issue here is a lot of people do.
Yeah, like two-door, sleek looking, but for some reason, maybe I've known all along that it's not really a sports car.
Yeah, well, the issue that you shouldn't buy one is just depreciation.
Yeah.
Like the ridiculous depreciation.
Insane.
And expensive repair costs and parts costs, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's just better cars.
Wait. I said way. I was going to say way better cars.
Sorry. Same goes for the Jaguar F-Type. Now, in saying that, we haven't delved into an F-Type deeply yet.
Yeah.
So we are kind of judging this on all of the other engine and electrical and mechanical and body issues and interior issues that you'll see across all of the other Jaguars.
Yeah. All their relatives are shit.
And also the depreciation and the cost of parts.
Especially the depreciation.
Yeah. So I think we're getting to an F-Type video eventually, but I'm not. I don't think it's going to do well.
No.
This one hurts me. Toyota MR2. I just. Yeah. From a driving perspective, but I just think they're getting a bit on. I think for this kind of money, there are just better cars to buy. I think accessing certain parts can be challenging, and they're starting to ask a premium on certain parts.
What about the ones that have been fitted with a 2GR V6 motor?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay.
It could be fun.
Yeah, I just think for most people, look, if you're a hardcore MR2 fan, go for your life. Go bananas. If you're going to work on it yourself, go for your life. But if you're paying somebody else to work on it, I think there's better options.
Not the worst car on our list. The worst car on our list. Do you want to go first? What do you got?
Mazda RX-8.
What a pity.
Yeah.
What a pity.
I think new, cool, but really underwhelming.
Everything on that car, if you have one, and it's still standard, you know what we're talking about. They're reliable when you take all the original stuff off them and put in an aftermarket computer and totally different engine, different turbo setup. Then they're okay. Different gearbox as well because they break. But from the factory, if they're still alive and they're still running all the standard stuff, you know how unreliable they are. Terrible.
Yeah. It's funny, where we filmed today, there's an RX-8 in somebody's front yard, and we've filmed there quite a few times in the last year and a half.
Hasn't moved.
It's got grass growing all around it. I think that's a lot of RX-8s are in that position. Yeah. I just think, again, you should not buy one because for under $100,000, there's so many other cars for under 20 grand. There are better sports cars out there.
Look, my winner here, really, I don't even know if it should be in this category or not, but a lot of people think it's a sports car. It's the Peugeot RCZ. What an utter bucket of shit. That EP6 engine in those is just the worst. They piss out oil. The timing chains just fail. The turbos fail on them. Everything leaks. They're just... and the whole car is just falling apart. Just you know what? Nice roof though.
Great roof.
Nice roof. Probably one of the nicest roofs you can buy.
Yeah. The one we reviewed, I should say, the guy that owns that, what a legend. Really lovely guy. He has done all of the preventative maintenance.
Yeah, right.
But I kind of think if you need to do so much preventative maintenance, is it inherently a good car?
No, probably not.
And again, for the money, there's just other stuff. There's other stuff out there.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, not worth the risk. Okay, now we're getting serious. Next category is sports cars, $100,000 to $250,000. And obviously there are so many potential options here, and we can't go through them all.
These are big dollar cars.
These are big dollar cars, but there are still some outer rubbish things that you should avoid at all costs. Okay, here we go. Ferrari California and Ferrari 360, but with the automatic gearboxes.
Yeah.
These are way up there in price,
Yeah.
I know, but just the depreciation is horrendous. The cost of parts, the cost of maintenance. It's a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are other cars for Ferrari money you should be buying at this sort of price point.
Yeah. What about the Bentley Continental?
Okay, I have actually a former, I suppose, boss of mine. She had a Continental. I think it was $600 and something thousand with all the options when she got it, and then it was worth, I think, less than $100,000. Not that much longer later, but suspension collapsed multiple times, and it, like the special height adjustable suspension failed. Electronic failures, doors wouldn't open, boot wouldn't open, all sorts of issues for a car worth more than $500,000, and you can now get them pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't buy one because these issues don't stop. And obviously the parts, even though many of them are Volkswagen parts, they don't charge Volkswagen prices.
No.
Not worth the risk. Yep. Next nominee, AMG C63S in coupe form for all the same reasons that we mentioned with the sedan and the wagons.
Yep.
Okay, this one hurts. Nissan R34 GTR.
Okay. I understand why. Yeah.
I think for what they're asking price-wise, if you're buying one as an investment, that's a different story. But if you're buying one...
Although, is it now?
Yeah.
If you bought one 3 or 4 years ago for an investment and sold it a year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even earlier than that. But
Yeah.
I've seen the prices of these come down dramatically lately.
My issue here is that they're getting so special, and they're also, some of them are so expensive that they're no longer being able, you can't really drive it as a performance car anymore. No. You can't really go out on a Sunday and have a blast and not worry about it. If you've got the sort of cash to go, I don't care if I've been this thing, but the insurance costs are unbelievable. Yeah. Cost of parts are getting insanely expensive.
And if you want the car to drive it, get an R35.
Yeah, that's the thing. An R35, and a lot of R34 fans are going to absolutely tear us to shreds in the comments about this.
We're not saying the R34 is a bad car.
Oh, no. It's fantastic. An R35 is better. Yeah. An R35, I think, from a driving perspective, taking the rose-coloured glasses off for a second, an R35 is just better in every single way, as it should be. It's the next evolution of this car. It's not even really an evolution, is it? It's a whole different car. But I just think for that kind of money... Which brings me, should I go my winner first?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, because my winner kind of carries on from that. And there's a caveat to this. Excluding cars that have been rebuilt from the ground up or have had all of the money spent on them for many years for the absolute premium
that's the only way you can make these good, because let's face it, if they're still original...
Mazda RX-7.
Yeah.
FD RX-7. I just think... I have a dear friend of mine. We're going to film his car. It is one of the best in the world. Literally ground up rebuild. Yeah, that's a whole different.
That makes it good.
That's a whole different category.
Yeah.
But for most on the used market, if you're looking at buying an RX-7, I just don't think you should.
Be very careful.
Yeah, there are so many things that can go wrong with these cars, and they're getting so expensive to maintain.
Even if you buy one for 100, 150 grand, you're still it's going to be very problematic.
Yep. Also, they're great to drive, but they're not. It's not like you drive it going, oh my God, this is driving Nirvana. It's not like that. They're good, but they're not mind-blowingly amazing. And also, another one that we mentioned in our other video, just insurance costs. There's
insane.
The car that we recommend, amazingly, are cheaper to insure than an RX-7.
Yeah.
And it's got a much fancier badge on it. But go watch the other video for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of fancy badges, what's your winner in this category?
My winner/loser here is the Jag F-Type.
I know we alluded to it before in the previous category, but that was the cheaper models.
Yeah.
More expensive models with the V6 and V8.
Yeah, look, the cheaper versions with the Ingenium 2-litre, just absolute rubbish. I cannot emphasize
the engine
generally. The engine itself. But later, the V6, the AJ series, the V6 and the V8, if you don't already know this, the V6 is the same block casting as the V8. They just literally lop off or blank off the two back cylinders. Some say engineering genius, I say effing weird.
Yep.
Like, that is just cheap and nasty. They have supercharger issues, they have oil leak issues, they have timing chain issues. And I just can't get past that whole block casting thing. I'm sorry, it's just the weirdest thing.
Yep.
Just cheap and nasty.
Yep. There was one we had when I was doing new car stuff, and I remember there was like a squeak in the dashboard, and this is a brand new press car that should be bolted together brilliantly because everyone's reviewing it, and they're already with, I think, 1,500 Ks on it, it was squeaking. So, not great there.
Nah.
Really serious category here, $250,000 to $500,000, ridiculous stuff here. But I think we have there's actually two winners, not nominees, two winners here. The first one I'm going to go with is just Ferrari Roma. It's a Ferrari California. Again, it's not a bad car, outrageously good car. It's depreciation.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're spending north of $250,000, you just don't care about depreciation, but that's irresponsible financially. But the car, I think, is the big loser here. Dodge Hellcat.
Oh my, what a car. I had one of those recently in the workshop, and I'm not going to name names or point the finger. I'm just going to interject real quick. The guy that owns it's an absolute legend. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I totally get why he bought that car. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the conversion from left to right-hand drive, this is not the manufacturer's fault, this is the people who did the conversion, was a bit shit.
Oh, very shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to name names or anything, but just some of the fit and finish and some of the way they'd literally hacked a hole in the firewall, not in any particular shape, just to clear the steering column, and then didn't paint over it, didn't fix the edges. It was just terrible. And there was other spots. Anyway, I don't want to get a rant, but that's about the conversion more so than the car. But the car itself, great For drag racing, maybe, possibly.
If you can get any power down.
Well, yeah, that's fine too. And I understand a lot of owners get it. They go, they're built for drag racing. I get that. But for that money, you can also buy something that's great for drag racing that goes around corners and stops.
Yep.
And has an underpinning and subframe that wasn't designed 40 years ago.
And doesn't creak like crazy the minute you go over an inclined driveway, like the one just out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the money, I'm not seeing the value as such. Also, in the US, they're so much cheaper. In Australia, they're north of $250,000.
And look, for me, any car that's in this category that's $250,000 to $500,000, I'm just a cheap ass bogan, right? I don't understand why these cars exist to a degree.
Yeah.
I understand some of them have got brilliant engineering and some of them look great, but are they bought primarily for just a money flex?
Yeah. It's a lot of money to spend just for the sound and the image of it.
Yeah.
I think for that kind of money, I would expect a whole lot more depth to the car. I'd expect, going to sound like a wanker here, but I'd expect some dynamic nuance when you're driving. I'd expect the harder you push through a corner on a track day, you learn more about not only the car but your driving ability. And this thing is just not that car, not for that money. Final category and last minute edition category, because we weren't going to have this, but when you watch the best cars we recommend, you'll see why we recommend it. Because in this category, GT cars, we're talking about a car that will be comfortable to drive from Melbourne to Sydney and then up to Brisbane without having a lower spinal issue. Yet at the same time, if you take a windy off-road or B-road, it's going to be an absolute ball of fun, and you can fit a decent amount of luggage in the back.
Our nominee here, we both agreed on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aston Martin DB9. It was the first of that new Aston Martin period, and they had not ironed out the issues there. Massive depreciation, huge expense for spare parts. Not actually built that great.
Not great.
One day we'll get one on, if we can find one that still works properly. And
any owner will tell you if they've had one that just how much they've spent on it to keep it going. It's insane.
Crazy. But the winner here is really any big AMG coupe, specifically like an S-Class coupe. The depreciation here is up there with some of the absolute worst of any car ever. We're talking cars that were selling for $500,000, $600,000 that a few years later are worth less than $100,000.
Yep.
We're talking cost of parts that are outrageous. What was years ago? What was the one we were talking? We heard about, and the brakes worth like $35,000 or something. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't remember, but for factory brakes, it was insane. Yeah,
like electronic issues.
Wait, isn't it a premium badge? Isn't it a premium badge? And aren't they just built by hand by craftsmen?
No.
Oh. Right.
No, that's marketing bullshit.
Oh, right.
Leather peeling off dashboards, door cards squeaking, half the electronics not working. And again, I just think it's financially irresponsible to spend $500,000, $600,000 on a car, knowing that you're going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in depreciation in a short period of time.
Who has that much money and does that?
I'm sorry, you're an asshole if you do
Did they
that.
inherit the money? They must have, because they didn't earn it.
Why not go and buy a car for $100,000 that's going to last, I know, like a Lexus RCF, which does all the comfort stuff just as nicely, sounds just as good, and then with your other $400,000 to $500,000 that you're willing to throw away, I don't know, maybe help those in need. Pull your head out of your ass.
Yep.
Sorry to rant. It really shits me. It really shits me. Every time I see one, I'm like, you're a dickhead.
Why though? That's pretty much our list.
That is our list.
Yeah.
That was rant fest.
I know. I love a good rant. I feel better.
I do.
So please, if you have one of these cars, jump on the comments and explain why we're wrong, because we'd love to know.
Yes, we love that. We love reading mean comments.
Do it.
And also, make sure you go and check out the flip side of this video, the best cars, or the best performance cars that we recommend you to buy that we also love. And we'll see you in the next video.